Classroom-based assessment 2. Student self-analysis and evaluation. This resource has been designed as a support for applied technology teachers as their students engage with classroom-based assessment 2, student self-analysis and evaluation. It is recommended that you view this resource in conjunction with the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments for applied technology. In this resource, we will appreciate the role of classroom-based assessment 2 in applied technology. We will explore the structure of classroom-based assessment 2, student self-analysis and evaluation. And we'll consider the importance of the subject learning and assessment review process for classroom-based assessments. This video has the following bookmark sections. First, we will take an overview of CBA 2. Then we will take a look at Getting Ready. To complete the CBA, we will explore the 3 areas of activity, including self-analysis of coursework elements, making judgments, and communicating their classroom-based assessment. Following on from this, we will consider how we decide on the level of achievement, and finally, we will consider the next steps. The junior cycle places a strong emphasis on assessment as part of the learning process. Through classroom-based assessments, students will have opportunities to actively develop a wide range of knowledge, understanding, skills, and values within the subject of applied technology. Active student engagement with classroom-based assessments promotes the key skills of junior cycle, allowing them to be more expressive and creative, to think for themselves, to communicate, and to be able to apply the skills that they have learned. They also support students in learning how to learn and to take responsibility for their learning. This can be achieved through an active and collaborative learning environment that allows for student voice and choice in the way they learn. Given the changing nature of knowledge, the ease with which students have access to information, and the pace of change in the workplace and the world generally, these competencies and skills are critical to the preparation of young people for learning and living. Classroom-based assessment 2, student self-analysis and evaluation, provides opportunities for students to conduct an analysis and evaluation of their coursework and skills to date in applied technology. The importance of this classroom-based assessment is that it allows for students to engage in the practice of reflecting on their abilities prior to commencing a piece of work. Information regarding the CBA is available in the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments, which are available on www.curriculumonline.ie. The table shown provides a brief overview of classroom-based assessment 2. CBA 2 will take place in Year 3 prior to the release of the Applied Technology project briefs. For this classroom-based assessment, each student will individually conduct an analysis of the coursework and skills to date in applied technology. The student can communicate the self-analysis and evaluation process through any appropriate media. The CBA will be reported to the student and parent or guardian by the school, as with all other classroom-based assessments. The CBA will be completed within a 3-week window with support and guidance from the teacher. And details regarding planning, preparation, completion, assessment and reporting of CBA 2 are available in the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments. While engaging with CBA 2, students will focus their analysis and evaluation on a range of completed tasks or on a specific completed task. Students are expected to critically review their progress and identify areas of strength and areas for improvement. Once the student conducts the self-analysis, they must interpret their analysis and evaluate their findings to offer constructive direction for the upcoming state examinations project. This classroom-based assessment is designed to encourage the practice of self-evaluation throughout, rather than only on completion of a task. This slide sets out the recommended process for conducting a classroom-based assessment. The aim of this process is to provide guidance for teachers as they support their students in completing their CBA. The process involves the following stages: getting ready, completing the CBA, deciding on the level of achievement, and next steps. We will now take a closer look at the various stages of this process. Getting ready. In terms of teacher preparation, planning for teaching, learning and assessment should develop students' knowledge, understanding, skills and values across the learning outcomes of the specification incrementally in advance of and during the completion of the classroom-based assessment. Students should have opportunities to develop evaluation skills that allow them to review their work or tasks or artifacts in order to inform future work, which help them to engage meaningfully with student self-analysis and evaluation. Subject departments should discuss the classroom-based assessment and plan any teaching and learning that may be required. Teachers should familiarise themselves with the following documentation: the Applied Technology Specification, the Applied Technology Guidelines for the classroom-based assessments, annotated examples of students' work, assessment and reporting in junior cycle, and these documents are available on www.curriculumonline.ie. In preparation for the classroom-based assessment, student self-analysis and evaluation, students should retain some evidence of projects they would have completed throughout first and second year to offer them supporting stimulus to conduct their analysis and evaluation. So what could this evidence look like? The evidence does not require the student to retain the physical project, only aspects of the work that may assist the student in completing the classroom-based assessment. This evidence could take the form of an electronic copy of a portfolio, a picture of the project, any documented feedback from the teacher, copies of the research presented as part of project work, or the evidence could be sketches, drawings or models of project work, any completed worksheets relevant to project work, any reflections or evaluations completed over first and or second year. It is important to keep records of tasks and projects completed in first and second year. We will now take a closer look at the areas of activity the students will focus on as they complete their CBA. Students will engage in and complete the following areas of activity which contribute to the completion of classroom-based assessment 2. 1. Self-analysis of coursework elements. 2. Making judgments. And 3. Communicating their classroom-based assessment. In completing their classroom-based assessment, students will capture and communicate their evidence of learning through a learning log. And we will now explore each of these 3 areas of activity. Self-analysis of coursework elements. Students should retain some evidence of projects they would have completed throughout first and second year to offer them supporting stimulus to conduct their self-analysis and evaluation. Once the student has identified a piece of work or a range of work, the student is then required to identify and analyse various coursework elements. Students should analyse their skills progression to date in relation to their coursework elements, identifying areas of strength and areas for improvement. So in terms of coursework, well, this can be any task or project completed by the student. And in terms of coursework elements, these are the various skill sets demonstrated by the student when completing their coursework. Coursework elements could include conducting research, sketching skills, bench skills, machine skills, etc. Note, the examples listed above are only a sample of what could be used as coursework elements for this classroom-based assessment. Students may also decide to focus on more specific areas, for example soldering, as part of their self-analysis and evaluation. In summary of this area of activity, Students should engage in the following activities for the completion of their self-analysis of coursework elements. They should retain some evidence of projects, tasks, or artifacts. They should identify a range of coursework elements within their work. And they should make observations and self-analysis on the development of their skills to date. 2. Making judgments. Once students have conducted the self-analysis of their coursework elements, they are required to make judgments based on this analysis. These judgments are intended to inform future decisions in terms of areas of strength and areas for improvement, so that this will inform future work. Students should be encouraged to explore their work in a balanced way that highlights both their strengths and areas that they will strive to improve on. This approach is to ensure that students complete a comprehensive and realistic reflection of their skills to date, which will serve to increase awareness of their own skill set prior to engaging with the State Examinations Commission project. 3. Communicating their classroom-based assessment. Each student will communicate what they have learned having conducted the self-analysis and evaluation of their work to date. The information should be presented in their own words to demonstrate personal understanding of the knowledge and ideas relevant to them personally. Students should be encouraged to identify which information best communicates their work and choose the most suitable medium in which to present it. Examples of mediums that could be used are written form such as a report, digital form such as a blog, a video or slide presentation, visual form such as a graphic presentation or a display, audio form such as a podcast or a voiceover. The student's response to their classroom-based assessment can be produced in any format that is appropriate for capturing the ideas of the students. The mediums or formats listed are not intended to be exhaustive, but serve to offer suggestions as to the possible choices in presenting the classroom-based assessment. Providing our students with opportunities to experiment with a variety of mediums and formats throughout first and second year is of great benefit to students. It will enable them to have a voice to make informed choices on how they can best communicate, not just for classroom-based assessments, but for life in general. These opportunities will encourage students to be more expressive, creative, and more effective in how they communicate. Deciding on the level of achievement. Upon completion of their CBA, students submit their learning log. The teacher will then carry out a provisional assessment of the student's work based on the features of quality and award a provisional descriptor. So what will support teachers in this work? Supports regarding the classroom-based assessments are available at www.curriculumonline.ie. They include the Junior Cycle Applied Technology Specification. Along with providing a course outline, the specification provides a brief overview of the assessment components for the subject. The guidelines for the classroom-based assessments. These provide general information on classroom-based assessments, the features of quality used to describe the level of achievement for each classroom-based assessment, and guidelines for schools, teachers and students on completing the classroom-based assessments. The annotated examples of students' work. The purpose of these examples is to support teachers' professional development and are not intended to exemplify the only approach students can take when engaging with classroom-based assessments. Further examples will be added to this section of the website over time. Teachers may find it helpful to review some of the relevant annotated examples of students' work from the NCCA prior to coming to decisions about their own students' work. Once students have completed their classroom-based assessment, they will submit their work to their teacher. The teacher will carry out a provisional assessment of their students' work based on the features of quality and award a provisional descriptor. There are 4 level descriptors of achievement in each classroom-based assessment. Yet to meet expectations, in line with expectations, above expectations, and exceptional. The teacher should read the features of quality, starting with yet to meet expectations, until they reach a descriptor that best describes the work being assessed. The descriptor being awarded should closely match the criteria for that level descriptor within the features of quality. We will now take a brief look at the features of quality for Classroom-Based Assessment 2. Here we see the features of quality for Classroom-Based Assessment 2, Student Self-Analysis and Evaluation. The teacher should read the features of quality, starting with yet to meet expectations, until they reach a descriptor that best describes the work being assessed. The features of quality are available in the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments. For illustration purposes, the features of quality for this level descriptor of in line with expectations are shown. Note the bullet points on the right hand side of the table indicates the three features of quality for the descriptor of in line with expectations. Classroom-based assessment 2 in applied technology consists of three features of quality for each level descriptor. Please refer to the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments to see the features of quality for all four descriptors for classroom-based assessment 2. As mentioned earlier, the three areas of activity carried out by students for CBA 2 are 1. Self-analysis of coursework elements, 2. Making judgments, and 3. Communicating their classroom-based assessment. These areas of activity align with the features of quality as seen now. We can see clearly how the three areas of activity for CBA 2 align with the features of quality for the level descriptor of in line with expectations shown. To illustrate this further, this slide will show how the three areas of activity carried out by students for CBA 2 aligns with features of quality for each level descriptor. So area of activity 1, self-analysis of coursework elements, aligns with the first feature of quality in each descriptor. Area of activity 2, making judgments, aligns with the second feature of quality in each descriptor. And area of activity 3, evaluating their classroom-based assessment, aligns with the third feature of quality in each descriptor. When awarding a descriptor, the teacher should read the features of quality, starting with the descriptor yet to meet expectations, until they reach a descriptor that best describes the work being assessed. The descriptor being awarded should closely match the criteria for that level descriptor within the features of quality. Teachers should not assume that the results of a group of students being assessed will follow any particular distribution pattern, as the students' work should only be judged against the features of quality rather than on other students' performances. Details regarding the descriptors and the features of quality for classroom-based assessment 2 are available in the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments. Where it is not clearly evident which level descriptor should be awarded, the teacher must come to a judgment based on the evidence from the student's work to select the descriptor that best matches the student's work overall. This best fit approach allows teachers to select the descriptor that, on balance, describes the work being assessed. At this stage, the descriptors awarded are provisional prior to the teacher participating in a subject learning and assessment review meeting. So now we're going to take a look at the next steps. After provisionally deciding on the level of achievement and awarding a level descriptor, teachers will then take part in a subject learning and assessment review or SLAR meeting. The guidelines for the classroom-based assessments provide more detailed guidance on teacher participation and engagement in subject learning and assessment review meetings and details on facilitation of these meetings. They also provide details regarding the recording and reporting of results from classroom-based assessments, and it also provides guidance on providing effective feedback. Please refer to the appropriate section of the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments. The subject learning and assessment review or SLAR process has an important role to play in developing teacher understanding of the standards and expectations of students. This is supported by teachers meeting to reflect and discuss the evidence of their students' work. This SLAR meeting will provide better consistency of teacher judgment, greater alignment of judgments against expected standards, and better feedback to students. The SLAR process also promotes the practice of collaboration, whereby teachers share the learning and teaching strategies used to support students' work. In preparation for the subject learning and assessment review meeting, each teacher will identify one sample of students' work for each descriptor, where feasible, and will have these available for discussion at the meeting. Teachers will bring their own examples of students' work to the meeting and discuss their provisional judgments with other colleagues. Subject learning and assessment review meetings enable teachers to collaboratively reach consistency in their judgment of student work. This work is supported by referring to the features of quality as set out in the assessment guidelines and also by referring to the annotated examples of student work provided by the NCCA. One teacher of the meeting will prepare for and coordinate each review meeting. This role will normally be rotated among the relevant teachers. Over time, this process will help develop a greater understanding of standards and ensure consistency of judgment about students' performance. It is recommended that you become familiar with the information regarding subject learning and assessment review meetings in the guidelines for the classroom-based assessments. During a SLAR meeting, teachers will have an opportunity to discuss student samples, beginning with the sample provisionally assessed as yet to meet expectations. The general discussion will focus on the extent to which the student's work matches the relevant features of quality. Where there is a lack of agreement, teachers should refer to relevant annotated examples of students' work provided by the NCCA and, if appropriate, a couple of examples of students' work from other teachers. Whilst the meeting should look to establish consensus during the discussion, the emphasis should be on developing teachers' professional knowledge and skills rather than on seeking unanimous agreement over every feature of quality in every sample discussed. The emphasis during review meetings is on developing the skill of professional judgment and reaching an agreed understanding of standard and quality. This best fit approach allows teachers to agree the descriptor that on balance is most appropriate for the work being assessed. The process is repeated in turn with samples provisionally awarded with other descriptors. To summarise the SLAR process, before a SLAR meeting, students will, upon completion of their CBA, submit their learning log. The teacher will carry out a provisional assessment of their students' work based on the features of quality and award a provisional descriptor. During a SLAR meeting, the subject department will discuss samples of their students' work to support consistency of judgment and to develop a common understanding about the quality of student learning against common externally set features of quality. After a SLAR meeting, the teacher will, based on the outcomes of the meeting, reconsider the judgments they have made to their students' work, if necessary, and award a final descriptor. The teacher will record and report results from classroom-based assessments and provide students with effective feedback. For more detailed information on facilitating and participating in the subject learning and assessment review meeting, please refer to the appendix of the guidelines from the classroom-based assessments and the NCCA website. In summary, this resource provided us with an opportunity to appreciate the role of classroom-based assessment in applied technology. We explored the structure of classroom-based assessment student self-analysis and evaluation, and we considered the importance of the subject learning and assessment review or SLAR process for classroom-based assessments. On behalf of the Applied Technology team, thank you for taking the time to engage with this resource.